Hey there, everybody. I was asked if I would go through a tuning process for the Swan harmonic tuner. Some people had some questions about how I did it at EBR this last October. So here we are. So this is my crown. This is not the gun that I shot the 100 yards at EBR with. The question most people seem to have is a lot of people are shooting 22s and shooting crowns, and so I wanted to go through that. And I think that frankly this might even be more helpful on this gun than it is on the impact, simply because there's more barrel in front of the breech that's not being supported. Right on the impact, the barrel actually is set way back, right, bullpup. So we're going to go through the process. I put a side shot on here so you guys can watch what I'm doing through the scope. And then as far as the tuner goes, right, so here's the Swan harmonic tuner, and I've gone through and labeled this thing, right? So right, left, and then all the troughs get numbers, and I put a little dot at the bottom underneath the trough. You'll understand why in a second. All the way around. And then we've got, so this is 7 right, this will be 7 left, and then I also put a dot here. You'll see there's a segment here where it's wider than the other ones, so I numbered that as well. 4, 3, 2, 1 left, and so on. So that's this. Okay, let's bring you over here. What have I done to the gun to prepare for this? The only thing that I've done here, let's get this set up. The only thing I've done here is I put some friction tape on here. I don't like how that's sitting. So Tim says use electrical tape. Technically, friction tape is a kind of electrical tape, and this is what I'm using. I like this. The outside is it remains a little bit tacky, so I like that. I feel like it helps hold this in place, because this is a slip/friction fit, and no doubt that the electrical tape, the vinyl kind, works well. This is what I happen to have, and so I'm going with it. What else did I do? That's about it. I did just remount this scope on here. And I've got some video that I took. Let me move this back over here. So I've got some video that I took. I had a laser bore sight on here, and I'll show that footage. But you can see that when I tap the barrel, right, the barrel vibrates, and real easy to see that. Notice it with the laser pointer, laser bore sight on the wall that was across my house. And that was only at 20 yards. But super dramatic and super easy to understand. That's the harmonic effect that we're talking about, right? And if you haven't, I suspect that you probably all have. If you're into barrel harmonics, Matt Dubber did several videos where he went through and discussed barrel harmonics. Some of the videos that he went through talked about powder burners and how to set your charge and bullet weight for the barrel. This is really the same principle here, right? And even as I sit here and I tap it right now, I can see the barrel is shaking. And that same process that Matt goes through and discusses is exactly what's happening here, right? So what we want is, we want, when the pellet leaves the end of the barrel, to always leave the barrel in the exact same phase of that harmonic sequence when we get there. And putting a mass on the end of the barrel, right, it's a dampening effect on that harmonic. So you're decreasing the amplitude of what's going on. And so we'll get into that maybe more later, but I highly recommend watching Matt Dubber's videos on that to help with the principles of this whole thing. So right now we've got No tuner on here, just this little bit of tape. And we'll take some shots, and we'll see what it's shooting right now as is. I'm not going to be trying to tune and set velocities and whatnot. The way the gun is set, that's how it's setting. These settings don't mean anything, but transfer port is set to 117 and 22, and my hammer is set to the min setting. My target is set at 50 yards, so I'm going to place this fresh target on there, and we'll get started. All right, so set the target down there. I got a side shot about ready to go here, and I'm going to give you a view down the long side of the gun here, so we can keep track of what's going on with the harmonic tuner, exactly where I placed it, and then we'll have the scope cam for results. All right, so here we are. I put a target down there, but the one thing that we didn't go through here yet was indexing the barrel. You guys should be doing this even if you're not putting the harmonic tuner on your gun. This is important. It's not super critical. It's really a matter of best practice, because that liner can have a crown in it, like a piece of lumber has a crown on it, right? It's the same principle. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this jam nut out, and we're going to pull this barrel out a little bit. And we're going to grab a pen. So here, this is a lens wipe that I happen to have handy, and I'm going to clean up the end of this a little bit, just so that I can mark it, and hopefully the mark will stay somewhat permanent. So the way I do this is, the grooves that they put in here, you can see them and feel them on the exterior of the barrel. And what you can do is you can fill in that groove with a marker. This is a Sharpie, but that usually doesn't mean a lot. So just be super careful. If you have a hard time getting this out, be very, very gentle. Make sure that you're using soft jaws, and the amount of pressure that you're applying, it's got to be really, really gentle. You don't want to damage the crown, and you definitely don't want to mess up the choke at the end of this liner. And I'm going to put the jam nut back on. Don't wrench on it. Hand tight. I mean, I got pretty strong hands. Put it on there pretty good. If you need a little bit of wrench, it's not. I've never seen these come off ever. I've never seen one loosen. And for the purposes of what we're doing right now, we're going to be taking it off again in a few seconds. So let's take a few shots here. Let me find this place on this target. I'm going to go way up over here off the edge of this. And we'll take a couple shots here. That's recording. So you can see that's way off to the left of where the scope is zeroed. So we don't want that. For no other reason really than being air gunners, we've always got a hard time with elevation. Lots of geese. Elevation's a problem, right? So, and wind isn't our friend. So if I could take some of this impact that I'm seeing here to the left and move that so that it's in the horizontal axis and up as high as possible, that's where I want it to be. There is a chance that you could run out of elevation because of something like this. So I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. So there's the pink line I made. Push it back in. Again, tighten up this jam nut. Let it rip. This seems a little dark here. It's okay. Move this over a little bit this way. Okay, so that was that's pretty good. That's a decent group, but it's still a little bit to the left. I'm going to turn it another 90 degrees here. Pull this guy out, being careful not to rub off the marker. Straight up and down. Couple more. Way low now, right? I'm all the way down here on this target. So I think that last setting there was probably pretty close. So let's go back to that. I think you guys get the point here. I'm going to call back at this 90-degree position. Good. I think that probably a little additional fine-tuning wouldn't hurt, but in the interest of time, we'll call this. Correct. You know, I could have put this back on in between shots. It probably would have been a good idea to do it that way, but I didn't, so let's just move on. All right. Okay, that's on. Let's check our zero. Use this target way down here. Looks like we're off to the right now a little bit. Okay, that looks okay to me. So let's start over here. This first target, right, labeled no tuner. And you can see that I went through and labeled all these targets the same way I labeled the tuner. This way everything lines up. Keep track of what I'm doing, where I've been. So I already put a few shots here. But we'll put, let's pretend those ones aren't there because I'm not going to create a new target. All right, well, there it is. There's my 3 shots. I wouldn't call those real good. let's put the tuner on. Here. And the one thing I did do, I don't know if you guys can see from there, is I put a this line right there. All right, so that's, I'm calling that the center of the barrel. So this way I can line up those dots I put underneath down here. When they're lined up with the line, I know that it's in the right spot. Left, and this first one I have on here is labeled left slash, or just L and R. So let's give it a whack. All right, I'm going to adjust the zero here a little bit. I'll try to keep things centered up on these targets. Okay, so that's our first one. Our second one here. Oh, yeah, the target's too low down there. I got a whole row that's buried under the grass because it's a little bit of a slope there. I'll have to go out and pick that up. Let me go do that real quick. Tuner's on, set between right and left. And we already did the left, so now we're gonna take this thing, and I've got it marked for right one. So we're gonna take this thing, we're gonna turn it right there. Making sure I keep the tuner aligned with the end of the barrel. Okay. Up to two. Move it to three. This is a fast process. There's no reason to get hung up. It shouldn't take any longer than this. Once you've done it once before. 4. Right, you can definitely see how the point of impact is changing as I rotate this tuner. That's a pretty good group though, R4. Super important that you label the target, right? Label the target the same way as label the tuner. Otherwise, I guarantee you're going to get lost and frustrated. Unless you're way smarter than me, which is entirely possible. All right, 5. It does not like 5. 6. 7. Pellets. 7 right. You'll notice the target's not level with the scope. The scope is correct. The target is not. Okay, so you see there on the target we've got one labeled 7 left, 7 right. That's that middle position right there. Where we've gone. After this, we'll be halfway done. Okay, now 7. Does not like that at all. One more. Those two went through the same hole. Okay. Six. You know, and I numbered this thing using the troughs. You could label it the other way. It doesn't matter. It's your convention, however you're happy. All right, let's put some more pellets in here. Move this to 5. I might have damaged that pellet. Let's see. It seemed okay. Do one more. Okay, 4. Three. Pellets. One more. It's not a bad group. Last position. One more. That's a pretty good group right there. I wish I had started going left, huh? So let's just take one of these extra targets here. Let's just run a couple more through there. That's pretty good. The other one we had good success with here was this guy, right? Right 4. So right 4 and left 1 made this thing really happy. So Let's check right 4 out again. Right 4. Okay, right, and every time I do it, I'm making sure that it's even at the end of the barrel, because I don't have a moderator installed. We got pellets. We got a couple. So here we go, right 4. So this is a repeat of this target right there, and the one above it actually as well. And I might have damaged that pellet. And I think that was the wind on that one. I don't like that. Let's go up here. That's pretty good. There's one flyer there, but what are you gonna do? It's pretty windy out here. All right. So it certainly tightened things up. Let's just take a couple more shots here. This wind is killing me. Woo, I think it was a bad pellet. I could see it swirling as it flew. That one too. All right, so unsorted pellets. There's only so much you can do with unsorted pellets, and I haven't tuned this gun, but and I'm not a fan of 22 myself. It's a personal preference thing. Tom Adams, he won the big prize, and he was shooting 22. But I'm not a fan personally. I don't care what anybody else has done with anything else. It all comes down to what you're comfortable with and what you know the best. So there we go. So just out of curiosity, let's go back and try that left one more time here, because we got a pretty good group of using that at the end. This target down here is available. I think this gun's got a regulator leak. That first shot after it's been sitting for a few seconds seems to be off almost every time. Those last 3 shots I just took, they're through the same hole, which I'm not terribly surprised at because I've had regulator problems in this gun before. Let's confirm all that. Let's stick a couple more pellets in here, and we're going to leave it where it is. Alright. Here we go. So this target right here, well, you can see how much that grass is moving down there. Let's just give it a second. Alright. See how low that one was? It's still windy. It's the wind pushing it around. Let's go right here. Oh, last shot. Okay. So, I hope this was helpful to somebody. I think that the results here, while not as good as the results I had with my impact, clearly from our first test over here, and that group right there is gigantic. To what we were just shooting now, even with that first shot being off the way that it is every time. Clearly an improvement on shooting accuracy. And what else can we do here to make this interesting? What if we why don't we leave the tuner set on L1? We'll leave it set on L1, but let's pull it back from the end of the barrel, right? Because that is going to change the harmonic effect that it's going to have. So I'm going to put a few pellets in here. The process I went through here is the same process I went through on my impact. If I get enough requests, I can go through that process on my impact as well. It literally is the same thing as the tuner is not this tuner. It's actually, I have one on there. It's set exactly the way. I haven't touched that gun since EBR. So it would be interesting, I guess, to shoot that gun here and see if the way it's tuned holds. I suspect that it's not. I wouldn't expect it to work correctly. I would expect it to be some unknown value. I would never shoot without retuning at the destination where the competition is at. It might be pretty good, but the difference between 5th place and 3rd place was only a couple of points. I think Fred only had a point or two less than me for 4th place. So there you have it. So here we go. I've got a few pellets in here. Let's just we'll find a spot on here. We'll just put it right there. Let's see over here on this other side of this target. Right here in the middle. So this is really no change. Okay. Now let's take this tuner and we're gonna pull it back an inch. 1 inch. Alright, so let's bring this around over here. Show you what I did. Right, so there it is. The tuner is now back. Just into the Sharpie. Here's the Allen wrench. Maybe you can see that better. It's that much. So I'm going to call it an inch. Okay. And again, this is a totally legitimate way to tune this. There's nothing that says hard and fast. It has to be at the very end of the barrel. The very end of the barrel happens to be a convenient place. You're going to need to create some kind of stop so that as you're going through this cycle and testing all different positions, you keep it at the same distance to the end of the barrel. But totally valid to move this thing. The end of the barrel, though, is the trouble spot, right? And that's the last. That's where the pellet actually is going to exit. And putting the mass as far forward on the barrel as possible is going to create the most damping. So let's re-roll in here. All right. I guess I didn't get this last one. So the last sequence here, I was aiming here, and here are the shots right here, and actually a couple over here as well. So let's try this again. I didn't rotate it. I just pulled it back. Get to the wind a little bit. That one's not pretty. See, it's not happy at all there. So get two here. There's 4 shots there. That's just ugly. But if you put it back, the barrel still set on L1. You got a couple pellets left, I hope. Nope, none. Hold it back, it's still at L1. So there you go. Okay, so we'll call that a wrap. Hope this was helpful to somebody. It definitely works. You know what? I think I got a couple of stuff maybe. I would like to take this thing back off and let's see what we get. Let's see, it's throwing a fit. Got pellets, no pellets left. Last one. Hope you guys found it interesting. Good luck, and see you soon.